Our next, who was supposed to be last, and I am, intensely flawed always, and thank you for your flexibility, and I apologize. Sweetness and goodness and light and kindness are not big enough words to describe the spirit of our next presenter. Please welcome Danny Holcomb.
Also not my music.
I love you all. Love you all.
It's like, Dave, if you really want to go up to it, feel free.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
It was supposed to be I hurt myself today just to see if I still feel. And yeah, so we'll just let it hang out there like that. I decided instead of a story and a talk, I'm going to have an interpretive puppet show.
I love you.
I love you, and thank you. Thank you for all of this. I'm really nervous. I'm really scared right now. And when we started this process a while back, I was ready to tell a story. It was August, and I had just gone through this really excruciating experience of leaving my household that I had known for like 3 years. I had lived with my fiance and her children for 2.5 years, and they had adopted me as their parent, and it was most gratifying. And she's an amazing person. I can't say enough about her, and I can't say anything bad about her, especially because she's here tonight. And that's the kind of thing that really gives me hope in life, is that one thing I wanted when we were deciding to go our separate ways, because we just weren't working, was to show the children how it's done. You know, how to really do that, and how to love someone through the pain. And in our first meeting, I promised everybody I was probably going to cry. But then around October, depression started coming to hang out with me again. And I just didn't want to deal with all this stuff. I was ready 2 months ago, or 3-4 months ago, to just put it all out there. And then the process of doing this took me through a dark time. But that's one reason I do this, things like this. I put myself in positions that I have to pull myself out of. I've totally lost my place and gotten off track, but that's okay. Children are important for me for one reason. I was married for about 20 years, and the whole time my wife and I said, well, we're not going to have children, and I ascribed it to, I don't want to pass on my madness to a child. You know, I had been diagnosed with bipolar when I was 22, and it was a special, nice form of bipolar. Bipolar 2 with psychotic features. Kind of sounds like an option package when you go to buy a car. Would you like the psychotic features? Just a little more down, and you can have paranoia and delusions and hallucinations. It'll be great. You'll love it. So I really didn't want to do that to them. But it was a lie. I really did want children. I really wanted it. And my wife didn't need a child. She had me. I was her child. And I let her be my caretaker. And I spent most of my 20s and a good part of my 30s on lithium. and in and out of mental institutions for about 4 years, or for about 4 times in 12 years. And then finally, one day, I stopped drinking and drugging. And then, wow, it's amazing how much better I got after that. All the medications that they were giving me started working like they were supposed to. And I got a chance at a life, and I started to grow. And I wanted to grow up. I wanted to leave home and grow up. So that's what I did. At 41 years old, I moved to Richmond to go to school. And it was really scary. It was a scary thing to do, but I did it. And I came here, and it was great for about 2 years. And then I started drinking again. And it all went away. In the meantime, I had met someone, and we had gotten together, and we were doing the courtship thing, and I went into the hospital. I'd started drinking, and I went into the hospital, but it was too late. She was already like my willing hostage. She was with me for the ride, and we ended up getting pregnant, and that was great. I was finally going to have a kid, but I put this woman through hell. I put her through literal hell, and she would say she couldn't take it anymore, and she was leaving, and then one day she said, "I'm not going to raise this child with a drunk." And it occurred to me that I wanted to see my child grow up. That's what it took. That one thing, it clicked, and I decided to stop. But the problem was I couldn't stop at that point. I couldn't do it. I couldn't quit drugs and alcohol. So I had to get help. I had to go back to AA like I did in my 30s and start taking suggestions from people who knew how to do it and learn how to do it. And I did. And in April of 2008, I had my last drunk. And in June of 2008, I got to see Selah Burton Holcomb born. And I got to hold her with her mom for 3 hours until her heart stopped beating. She had died of extreme prematurity due to toxoplasmosis that her mom had gotten. She had changed the cat box a couple of times while I was out drinking. Couldn't be home to change the cat box. So that happened. But I didn't drink over it. And every day I did not drink, I honored her life and what she brought me. That was the most amazing 3 hours I've ever experienced. So I didn't drink, but 7 years later, I wanted to die, and I tried to kill myself. I decided to ram my car into a tree, and then at the last second, I thought better of it, and I swerved back across traffic, and I head on someone. I don't know how fast I was going, but I hit them head on. And right before I lost consciousness, I asked about them. They were okay, and that was a big relief for me. I didn't get a ticket. No one got a ticket. How does that happen? How do you have a head-on collision with someone and then walk away? Well, I didn't walk away. They took me in the ambulance, but no one gets hurt, and I don't get a ticket from it. So when I come to in the ambulance, I'm still all wound up in my manic delusion, and I'm having this delusion that I'm in the underworld, that these ambulance drivers are my ferrymen, and we're in the underworld, and we're traveling in the underworld. And then I lost consciousness, and I woke up in the hospital, and I was so fucking happy. I was in the land of the living again. I had come back from Sheol. I had come back, and I was alive. Now, they told me I had broken one of the vertebrae in my neck, but I couldn't hear that. All I heard was I was alive, and I checked out AMA, against medical advice. And then my ride didn't show up on time, so I'm wandering around downstairs because they had cut all my clothes off. I'm wandering around in hospital gown, and someone noticed, and they started asking me questions, and I ended up on a 72-hour psych hold. And I spent the first week of 2015 in the psych hospital, which was probably where I needed to be. Definitely where I needed to be. So for another year and a half, I started rebuilding my life. I was doing all the right things. I had a great spiritual life. I joined a church. I had a sponsor. I saw my therapist. I took my meds. I was doing everything right. And I met this wonderful person. And I was getting to know her and her children. And the next thing I know, I'm lying in the hospital bed with a stroke. I had a stroke because of the part in my neck that broke, calcified, and decided to cut off the blood flow to the back of my head. I mean, what kind of cosmic fuckery is this? I finally get to where I want to be, and everything is wonderful, and I've got a new life, and then it's like God said, oh, so you wanted to die? Here you go. But I recovered. The doctor literally said, this was his words, because I went back and looked in my journal. This event did not have to be so kind to you. No, it did not. But it made sense to me. I had a reason to live. I had something to live for. And I got to experience the love I have received from those children is something that I cannot describe. I got a chance to have what I lost, and it came back in my life. And even though it doesn't look like I thought it was going to look, it's perfect. It's the way it's supposed to be, and they're still in my life. And I love them, and they love me, and I'm their father. Thank you.
I hurt myself.